As you know, in 2019, Isro launched the Chandrayaan-2 mission, which included an orbiter, a lander, and a rover. However, the soft landing of the Vikram lander on the moon failed. The lander crashed at a speed of around 225 kilometers per hour, causing disappointment and frustration in the control room. At that time, this situation wasn't just a setback for Isro, but for the entire nation. Nearly 4 years have passed since that day, and Isro has learned from its mistakes. Chandrayaan-3 has been launched with various improvements, such as reinforcing landing legs, enhancing sensors, improving data fusion, refining the guidance scheme, and making several other enhancements. Before moving forward, it's important to understand some basic concepts. Whenever we launch something into space, we need to consider a few key factors. When launching an object, we add a certain velocity to it, which allows it to achieve a stable orbit. This velocity ensures that Earth's gravity doesn't pull it back down, and for reaching celestial bodies like the Moon or Mars, we need to decrease its velocity in a controlled manner to achieve a soft landing. There are various methods to reduce velocity. For bodies with atmospheres like Mars and Venus, we can use parachutes to slow down spacecraft. However, as you know, the Moon lacks an atmosphere. To slow down there, we rely on spacecraft engines. While it may sound simple, it's actually quite challenging. Up until now, lunar missions have seen limited success. Only around 50% or fewer missions have been successful. From 2019 to 2022, there were approximately 5 landing attempts on the Moon, but only one was successful. China's Chang'e-4, India's Chandrayaan-2, Israel's Bereshit, and Japan's Hakuto all failed to soft land on Moon. In fact, since 2001, China stands as the only country to have achieved successful soft landings on the Moon multiple times. Even Russia's Luna 25 mission ended in a crash recently. This leads to the conclusion, as you already know, that landing on the Moon is no easy feat. Chandrayaan-3 has performed a series of maneuvers over the course of about a month to reach its final orbit before the final powered descent. The lander is currently positioned in 25 by 134 kilometers polar orbit around the Moon. On August 23, 2023, at around 5:45 p.m., the final powered descent phase of the Vikram lander will begin. This period is often referred to as a 15 minutes of terror by scientists and engineers. During this time, Vikram will be at an altitude of about 25 kilometers above the lunar surface. Vikram's horizontal velocity will be approximately 1.68 kilometers per second, or 6,048 kilometers per hour. Following a thorough health check of the spacecraft, Vikram will initiate the rough braking phase by firing of its 4 engines. This action will reduce its horizontal velocity and cause its vertical velocity to increase. You may have observed a similar phenomenon when kicking a football. Initially, it follows an arcing trajectory upwards due to its horizontal velocity. However, as its horizontal velocity decreases, it begins to descend due to the pull of Earth's gravity. Similarly, as Vikram's horizontal velocity decreases, the Moon's gravity will start pulling it towards it, and Vikram will have traveled approximately 715 kilometers downrange, and it will be only 30 kilometers away from its landing site. At an altitude of about 7.4 kilometers, the attitude hold phase will begin. Yes, I'm referring to attitude here, not altitude. In this context, the term attitude refers to Vikram's specific orientation. During this phase, it will be tilted at around 50 degrees and will maintain this orientation for the next 10 seconds. This phase will conclude at an altitude of approximately 6.8 kilometers. Up to this point, around 11 minutes and 40 seconds will have passed, during which Vikram will have traveled about 3.48 kilometers downrange. You can see this in the provided infographic. During this phase, Vikram's horizontal velocity will be 336 meters per second, or 1,209.6 kilometers per hour, and vertical velocity of 59 meters per second, or 212.4 kilometers per hour. As Vikram decreases its horizontal velocity, its vertical velocity will begin to increase. As soon as this phase ends, Vikram will enter its most critical mission phase, known as the fine braking phase. Starting at an altitude of around 6.8 kilometers above the lunar surface, Vikram will now be only 28 kilometers away from its landing site. Over approximately 175 seconds or 3 minutes, Vikram will gradually reduce its horizontal and vertical velocity. This phase will last up to 1.3 kilometers. By the end of this phase, Vikram will have killed its entire horizontal and vertical velocity, and it will have traveled 30 kilometers downrange. Approximately 14 minutes and 35 seconds into the mission, the Vikram lander will initiate its terminal descent. It will start this descent from an altitude around 1.3 kilometers above the lunar surface. Vikram will hover for about 12 seconds between 1.3 kilometers to 800 meters. During this hovering period, it will perform a survey of its landing site and calibrate its sensors. This time will be utilized to fuse data from all its sensors to obtain an accurate velocity reading and make necessary corrections to its trajectory and descent velocity. Around 14 minutes and 47 seconds, Vikram will conclude its hovering and begin a vertical descent lasting approximately 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Gradually, Vikram will descend further. At approximately 16 minutes and 58 seconds, Vikram will hover again at an altitude of 150 meters for about 22 seconds. During this hover, Vikram's lander will scan its landing site with lander hazard detection and avoidance camera. This scan will allow Vikram's complex algorithm to determine whether the landing site is safe. It will check for obstacles, such as craters or large boulders. Following this, the onboard computers will make the final decision to proceed or abort the landing. If the computers deem the landing site safe, at around 18 minutes and 33 seconds, Vikram will descend to a mere 10 meters above the landing site. It will initiate a 9-second long descent, maintaining a velocity of 1 meter per second, gradually coming closer to the surface. Around 18 minutes and 42 seconds, Vikram will touch down on the lunar surface. Upon touchdown, sensors on its landing legs will kill its engines. If the onboard computers determine a no-go situation, Vikram will choose the safest landing spot within a 150-meter area and descend to an altitude of 60 meters. Around 18 minutes and 59 seconds, it will achieve a safe landing at that alternate site. Afterward, Vikram will capture an image of the landing site and provide an update on its health. 2 hours later, it will initiate the procedure to deploy the rover. Subsequently, it will gradually deploy all its scientific payloads, explore the lunar surface, and send data back to Earth. So let's wrap up this video. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like button.